Frantic.
Oh, Nicholas. How you doing, buddy? How's that little website of yours doing?
All right, here we are. Silly little website reporting from Anaheim, California. And thanks for all your questions. And first out is, we all know our buddy,
That guy, Butch.
and he's going to answer your questions, hopefully. Some of them.
All right, question number 1. Has there ever been a blackout on stage during a show? Why, yes, there have been. There's quite a few that are built into the show. Bells. Watch for the blackout during bells. There's a really good one in there. But as far as accidental, completely going black during the show, up until tonight, I can report that we have not had that happen on this particular show. Let's see here. What kind of schooling did you have to have before being qualified as a professional in your line of work? Well, schooling. I went to college, and I have a degree in design for theater. But my schooling really happened after college. I went to work for bar bands and plugged along at $15 a night. And eventually, 20 years later, I finally have a decent job and can pay my bills. But I really wouldn't recommend this as a career choice for anyone other than me and Reed the Pyro Guy. When Metallica decides to play a new song on the same day of the show, how can you get some good lighting stuff on that song? That's the best question I ever heard. I ask myself that every night when I look at the set list. How am I going to do this? Well, we have a whole bunch of pages set up in the lighting consoles that all they are is just a million different looks. And hopefully I know the song well enough that I can just hit a button and it's going to look appropriate and it's going to be cool. But hey, face it, anytime it's something people haven't heard for a really long time, it doesn't matter what I do with looks. Everybody's pretty psyched just to hear something they haven't heard in 20 years. So, you know, who's paying attention to the lights then?
Right. That's right. And now we're changing page for even more questions coming right at you.
Was this more of a challenge than other shows that you've done? This is a very challenging experience from a few different aspects. First off, I have to stand next to Reed, and he tries to touch me. Secondly, he doesn't really. He's gassy. We did this on very little rehearsal time. Almost every leg of this tour, we just went in, we had 2 days, and we started doing shows. So it was a real lot of pressure just to get the thing ready to go out the door and get it going in a short time span. And also the fact that there's never a set list until 10 minutes before the show makes it a little challenging just to get organized, get it together, and get the show running. And the fact it's Metallica. Feel the pressure. Welcome to Metallica. You know, that was our saying at the beginning of the tour with me and Brad Schiller. Every time something would go a little funny or we'd screw something up huge, we'd just go, welcome to Metallica, because that's what it was.
So it's pretty legendary, Brad, his look when something goes wrong. Can you tell us? Maybe you need to back up a little bit.
No, there's room.
There's a room? All right, all right.
Hey, Brad, none of the lighting consoles will work. Brad, what do we do? What do we do? That's what Brad did. Highly paid, published author in lighting programming. Here it is one more time in case you missed it. Brad, why'd everything go off? There you go. That's the Brad question. Brad at theschillerfamily.com. Okay. Is there something you're using on this tour that hasn't been used on previous tours? Ooh. Well, I can't speak of previous Metallica tours, but we're trying a few little unusual things with lighting. I'm using a lot of Vicodin. Just kidding. I thought that was funny. It's not, though.
Well, let's make a little poll. Was that funny?
No. So anyway, yeah, you know what? The big moving motor system that moves all the trusses around during the show has very rarely been used, and one of the first times it's been used in this scale is this tour. This is the biggest package of these motors that's ever been put together and toured rather successfully, I might add. It works every night up until tonight, now that I've talked about it. Anaheim, Check the silly little website to see if my premonition is true. Do you just sit back and laugh when Lars plays with your lights? I love that, and I can't believe you noticed that, but yes, whenever he does that, here's a funny thing about those lights. So those lights he's messing with are called studio colors. And if you hold it, its pan or tilt for any more than 10 or 20 seconds, it just gives up and it'll stay somewhere. So you watch. Some nights he'll hold his foot on the thing and point it in someone's face, and other nights he'll put his foot on it, not hold it long enough, and it'll shoot right back up at him. So I don't think he's quite completely figured out how long you have to hold that thing before the motor times out. But yes, I think it's hilarious. We encourage that behavior. First off, because it gives Tom Green more stuff to fix. Okay, how do you decide what colors to use during different songs? Well, would you like to get that? I hear it right here. Let me take this. Our reporter's got to take a call. It's real important. L.A., you know, could be Jack, could be, Ricky Martin. They're good, close friends. You know what I'm saying? All right, how do you decide what colors to use during different songs? Well, it really depends on the song, you know? I mean, there's not a whole lot of pink happiness in Creeping Death, so we're not going to use any pink. Really good for Evil Green, though, bringing the green in a big way. So, you listen to the song and you draw things from the lyrics or from the music or from how the band plays it, because obviously if you've come to the shows, you've noticed that if you listen to the record but then you see the dynamic of the thing live, it's a completely different animal. So, things just kind of grow at a time. We sit down with a predetermined palette for every song and every show, but mostly it just over time develops. How do you decide what questions to ask people? How do you actually get people to come and do this for you, Nicholas?
Well, I think we should ask them out there. Why do you guys ask questions? No, really, we picked a lot of good ones, and I think a lot of people had a lot of good ones.
I think all the questions, actually, there's one question on here for Chubby that I really like.
All right, let's preview it.
I'm wondering how many people know a lot about lighting, because the questions were all really good lighting questions. But here is the best question on the whole thing. This is for Chubby, venue security. How many hours of sleep do you get on a typical concert tour day? Now, are you talking about the nighttime sleeping or his daytime sleeping? I mean, there's a few different periods of sleep that guy can get in one day. Let's go through some other questions for people. Foster, what's the weirdest thing you've seen eaten? That's a great question. Reed, a good one. Did you enjoy burning things when you were a kid? Hey, Reed, come here.
Reed,
it's your
come
turn
over here.
right
Next,
now. Come on,
next.
Reed.
We got Reed. He's hiding here behind, and he's actually doing some exercise over there. That's our Reed. Yeah.
Here,
come on. Let's follow. Don't look at my bald spot in the back. Don't look at any of our bald spots in the back, okay? Promise. Don't zoom in on that.
It's like we're tits.
That's true. All right. So next victim here. And I think a lot of good questions here, too. And this is the first time he's checking them out, so he's not going to get a chance to read them. So let's go. Let's start question number 1.
I can't answer that question.
Then question number 2.
I can't answer that question. All right, let's start with 1. Are there any limits to how loud the pyro can be? Well, these are good questions. No, I don't think there is a limit other than what I feel is safe. You don't want to obviously cause any hearing damage to anybody. So I'm going to say no, there isn't a limit. What kind of training do you need to be the pyro guy for a big-time act like Metallica? That's a good question. About 15 years, actually. I've been in the business, and many different bands, many different situations, and here I am doing Metallica. The company's been doing it now for 10 years, so plenty of experience with the Metallica band. Did you enjoy burning things when you were a kid? Only ants with a magnifying glass. That was the only thing I burnt. Leaves, maybe, and my mother once, but that's another story. How many pyros per show is there that goes off? Over 500. I don't know the exact number, actually, but over 500 actual shots go off during the show. What's your favorite pyro you've done to a Metallica song this tour? Definitely, without a doubt, war before 1. There's so much pyro going off at one time.
One time.
Whoa. Wow. You're smart. That's it. I mean, it's epic. I don't know even know how to explain it. There's no other band you can do that for. It's a pyro solo. What else can I ask for? And when the fireworks go off, did any crew members on highlights above get hit above get hit by one of the fireworks? Not that I'm aware of, but we have they're actually all dressed in fire Nomex suits from head to toe. They also have goggles and face masks on for smoke and any injury to their eyes and so forth. And Butch tells them when the pyro is going to go off, as well as we have safety positions for the follow spot operators. And yeah, there's been a lot of planning and organization that went into all this.
So what company do you work for?
Pyrotech Special Effects.
Woohoo! All right, another one down and a few more to go. And got any questions that you wanna ask?
Any questions that I want to ask?
The fans out there. Do you got any questions for the fans?
Oh, yeah. No, not really. I'm hoping that everybody's enjoying it. Hope you enjoy the pyro, and if you do, tell the guys, because I want to come back.
So I do actually have a question that a lot of fans asked, but I didn't put it on the list because I don't know if you were comfortable with it. But a lot of people are asking about James's accident. Was that during your time in your company?
No, actually, Pyrotech took over the contract after that happened. Whoa. And it's definitely something that's been addressed. We've talked about it, James and us, as far as extra precautions and so forth. We're not really taking any more extra precautions that we wouldn't take with any of our other clients. However, James obviously was a little more sensitive to it, so we will spend a lot of time with him and the rest of the guys to make sure that they feel safe. And once they have that comfort factor, then we start the show.
I guess you guys are still here, so that's a good thing.
We must be doing something right.
All right, thank you. We're backstage, and we have something different going on here in Anaheim. I don't know if it's because it's L.A. or because Lars woke up on the wrong side, but we got something special going on, and we're here in the video world. So let's ask Ben here. Hi, Ben.
How y'all doing today?
So let's talk a little bit about what you got cooking for tonight.
Well, we decided at the last couple of shows we want to record all 30 cameras, and you can see that over there in a little while, and the program feeds for the 8 screens that are going out front. So we have a big record project going on for the next couple of days.
So what you're telling me is that we got 30 small little cameras placed a little everywhere out there?
There's 30 cameras all over the stage, mic stands, on Lars's foot, on his kick pedal, guitars, you name it, we got a camera there. They're all over the place.
So what happened? So someone called you and said, hey, we need all those on saved, and we're going to record all those?
Yeah, Lars decided that he'd like to record it the night before Thanksgiving, and it's not a big deal. We've done it before. We'll do anything for them. We love these guys, so,
That's a political correct answer there. So do you want to show us around a little bit in your world here?
This is the main frame and the brains of everything that's happening out there on the screens for the audience. This is all the routers and how the signal is transcoded into the proper signal to go out to the screens. It's all serial digital so that we don't have a lot of effect from the 6.5 miles worth of cable that we have running to make this happen. These are all the cameras. This is the monitor bridge right here. These show us all the cameras that are online, and you can see the different ones, the drums down there, and these are all microphones going across the top, the corners of the stage down in the bottom, and then we have 2 robotic cameras that can follow anything in either side of the stage opposing diagonally. So we've got pretty good full coverage out there.
Not missing a moment?
Not missing a moment. Hopefully not missing a moment. But, these guys run around a lot. I mean, they're hard to catch. So we do the best we can, and we do pretty good, I think.
That sounds pretty good. Let's walk over to the VCRs over here. And what are they all recorded on?
Beta SP, which is broadcast quality record media. And For each camera, there's its own deck, which will record the entire show for tonight here in Anaheim and the next show in San Jose, along with the actual screen feeds that the audience will see. And you have to match up the time code so that each frame is synchronized, and we do that by tying together with our good friend Mike Gillies back in Pro Tools. So it's all synced up.
So does this mean a lot of new work for you tonight here, or it's fairly just a click play, record, and that's it?
It seems daunting when you think about the fact that you're going to do 33 records simultaneously, but actually it's not that bad. It's not that much. So it's just basically, once you get it set up and wired, it's just the cabling. There's a ton of cable that's used in a project like this, and it's a pretty big project. I've never actually done a 33 camera record shoot before myself, so this is brand new territory for me.
So it's Metallica doing it for the first time. All right. So also we're rounding up and recapping the tour. So how long have you been with these guys?
I've started on day one with Madly in Anger in the United States with the video portion of it, which was back in February. We started rehearsals in San Francisco, the Cow Palace. I'm the only surviving member of video so far.
That's right. We had a little people kind of came in and left.
A lot of people took one look at it and just ran away in sheer terror from the size of this project. But I managed to hang in there. But I love these guys. So
another good answer there. Okay, so let's look back at these. I think it's been like 19 months on the road. What do you remember if someone tells you, "Hey, Madly in Anger with the World Tour. How was that one?" What do you remember? What sticks out?
There's so much. It's hard to put your finger on any one particular moment. Just how much the band has changed over the years, and how much they really are sounding great these days, and just amazing. I really don't know how to answer that question, to be honest with you.
So let's go with another question then. So which Metallica song, if you picked one song that you never, ever, ever want to hear again, which one would that be?
That's tough. You really put me on the spot here. What would that be? Let's see. So What? We'll just say So What.
We are finally at someone who's really famous, big famous actor, Foster. And a lot of good question came in to her because she's doing the Food and Booze. She is actually the one, Food and Schmooze, that's what it's called these days. Sorry about that. Right, so Food and Schmooze. We're just schmoozing these days. We're not boozing anymore. That's what the crew is doing, not the band. All right, so instead of me babbling, let's go to Foster. And thanks for all the questions. Foster, a lot of questions to you. Think you got a lot of answers for people out there? And here's my silly little website microphone.
Oh, thanks. Let me turn off my radio first. Wow, there are some interesting questions here, I have to say. But the first one is pretty much what Lars eats, and that's already been answered. But it's just steak, just cut up steak, and he makes a little special sauce with Dijon and Thousand Island dressing and chopped up onions, and what else goes in there? Ketchup. Anyways, that's all he eats, and he dips it in mine's on it. It's good. I've never tried it, I can't say. What do the guys ask for the most? I'm assuming we need food. They all kind of have their own thing that they eat. They all enjoy certain things, and they ask for their certain things. Lars loves sushi, so he orders sushi a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really that's the most. They get sick of one thing, go to the other, blah, blah, blah. Next, is there any member who you would like to work with more than others? I don't know who asked that question, but this is my job here, people. Everybody is wonderful to work for. There's no favorites. Who picks out the boys' clothes on and off stage? It's their own clothes. They decide at the beginning of the tour what they want to wear on stage. We just wash it and make sure it's all clean and good for them to wear, but they all pick it out themselves. Off stage, they pick out their own clothes. Come on now. What is it like in the dressing room while everyone's preparing for the show? Oh, that's an interesting question. It can sometimes be pretty hectic if they arrive fairly late. It's a pretty hectic time. But if they arrive in the mid-afternoon, it's pretty mellow. Everyone just sort of gets changed on their own time. They come in, they eat. It's really mellow. Nothing too stressful. But like I said, if they come in late, it's stressful. I don't know if is that really answering the question? Yeah? Okay. Yeah? Okay. All right. Who leaves the biggest mess behind them? Again, people, I don't think I can answer that. Actually, they're all pretty clean. But notice that this is black. This tablecloth is black. This helps with the mess. That's all I'll say. And the weirdest thing I've ever seen eaten, interesting. I don't think there's anything weird, to be honest with you. They all eat pretty normal, everyday kind of stuff. From steak, as you know, to sushi, to Indian. I don't know. Nothing's too weird. I guess that's it. Oh, I just do want to say something to, I think it was Bobby H. Metal. Is that who it is? Bobby H. Metal wanted my phone number. Bobby, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to ask my really hot blonde girlfriend if I can give that to you. Sorry. Here, Nicholas.
All right, so what we're going to do, actually, we're going to have you answer one of the security questions.
What?
So, would you take a bullet for James, Kirk, Rob, Lars, or Nicholas?
Oh, definitely for Nicholas. I would take a bullet.
And that's it. Thank you. Audio department here, and we're still in Anaheim. And a lot of people ask questions to the people that make all the noise. And I'm not talking about the band. I'm talking about the sound department. So please welcome, beside Big Mick, Scotty. And here we go. All right. Take it over. Roll with it.
Roll with it? Oh, I get some.
Got to make sure Silly Little website is showing.
Okay, which Matt not? Oh, yep, Silly Little website. Okay, a couple weird questions you guys have asked. Can I think where has had the absolute worst sound of all the places I've toured? We're just talking about that, and in all actuality, I think that it was probably Copenhagen, the start of Europe. It's just reason-wise, it's just a massively huge, boomy, tons of reflections room, and it was difficult. And plus it was the start of the European tour, so everybody was kind of dialing things in and getting it all together. But it was, and even we had a day of rehearsals, but it was still pretty tough. So that's where I think was probably the worst sound of all. There's Reed. Hi, Reed. Which show do you think has had the best sound? I think they all sound really good in their own way. No, I think Grand Rapids, Michigan was really good. It was sold out there. It's a great venue. It's got a lot of soundproofing done in it. And it, in my mind, was one of the best sounding shows we did. A lot of venues you come into, and when you play them from one end, as opposed to in the round, they have a tendency, people will say, well, that's a really difficult sounding venue. It doesn't sound good. There's a lot of reflections, or, the low end just rolls. And when you play it in the round, it's a completely different thing. I mean, we just played a gig. What was the last place we just played? San Diego, the sports arena. And a lot of people said that place was just notorious for horrible sound. And when we got in there and went in the round, I actually thought it sounded pretty good. So, but my favorite, I'm from Grand Rapids, so I think my favorite I have to also say is Grand Rapids. Wow, what's it like working with Big Mick? Yeah, is he going to see it? No. It's awesome working with Big Mick. I've worked with Big Mick for 4 years now, a little over 4 years. Started out with him when he came over with Slipknot. Actually, I met him when I was doing Tattoo the Earth, and we came in when they were doing a summer sanitarium tour at Giant Stadium. And I got to meet him there, talk to him, and then when Slipknot was out on Ozfest, they got rid of their front of house guy. We recommended him. He came over, and I started working with him there. And then have been lucky enough to continue with him through this entire tour for almost 21 months. So it's awesome. The amount of knowledge that I learned from him is, I couldn't ask for anything more, really. not to mention the fact that he's an incredibly nice person, and I feel great. I'm glad to know him, and I'm glad to have worked with him. And quit doing that, Nicholas. And I've learned a ton from him, an experience that hopefully I'll take on to bands I work with in the future. Let's see. Did I have any formal training to prepare for a large touring band as Metallica? Not really. I guess I was always the kid in high school that had the biggest stereo on the block, and got into DJing dances and then started working for a sound company just doing smaller things. And then when Paul Owen kind of left the road and started working in the sound company, I worked with him, kind of his right-hand man, and have learned and taken out all the major tours from the company starting, and it's escalated to this. So no real formal training per se just for this, but definitely a lot of work and experience from it. How loud is a Metallica gig compared to other bands? Pretty loud. Mick likes a ton of low-ended things, so on an analyzer dB rating, C-weighted, which includes low end in it, we run about 120 to 125. We've seen peaks up to about 129, which is really loud. A-weighted, which takes the low end out. A lot of places in Europe put limits on you. They only want to run 100 dB. We run anywhere from 105 to 108, which is definitely damage to your ears if exposed to it for a long time. So yeah, all you people that come to Metallica shows, you're leaving a bit here with us. But yeah, it's loud. Most normal shows, non-heavy metal shows, maybe run 100 or 102 A-weighted, and we're anywhere from 105 to 108. So that's how loud it is. How long does it take to set up front of house sound system? Is that what that is? How long does it take to set up TEF sounds?
No, this sound. T-E-H-T-H-E.
T-E-H-T-H-E. Oh, okay. Well, we usually get our first speaker truck about 20 after 9 or 9:30 in the morning, and we dump two 53-foot trailers in the building, and by about 1:30 we're pretty much done. It's 92 stacks of Alpha with 32 CD18s, 184 boxes in the air, 32 subs in the air and on the ground, 16 floor wedges, or actually 18 floor wedges, and a complete set of control and all the cabling and everything that goes with it, and we're done by about 1:30. So 3.5 hours, 3 hours, not much, and load out. Both our trucks are loaded in about 45 minutes with the help of a lot of stagehands. Explain the difference with setting up for an indoor and outdoor concerts. Yep. Indoor concerts are a little bit harder to deal with. They're nice because you don't have to deal with the elements from outdoors, but they're a little more difficult because you're dealing with the tonality of a room, and some rooms create standing waves in low end or high end, and you also deal with a lot of reflections. And the sound of a room changes drastically from the time it's empty to the time that it's full. And in the round, it's especially crazy. Outdoors, you've really got no reflective surfaces. The only thing that changes, well, as it does indoors, is temperature. The hotter it gets, the more it dampens the high end a little bit, and the cooler it is, the more high end you have a tendency to hear. But other than that, that's basically the difference. I'd rather do outdoor gigs. They're a lot more fun. Nice to be out in the sun every now and then. So, or the rain or sleet or whatever it is we happen to run into in Europe and the U.S. So that's it. I hope I've answered your questions. It's been fun.
Now we're really scratching for content. We're here with a Godsmack crew. So, all right. So, anyways, we're here with a Godsmack crew, and they've been with us for how long now?
A year now.
About a year? Yeah, about a year.
So, what do you guys remember? Tell me 5 things you remember from this tour. And I'm not talking about... I'm just kidding. 5 things you remember from this tour.
Just talking about that surfing with you and Kurt when we went surfing in San Francisco.
So you went surfing with Kirk? Tell us about it. How's he?
No, it's just the surfing part. It was great.
You know what I'm saying? How is he as a surfer?
Oh, he's good. He's good. I got to see the wave of the day for him, I thought. Yours too.
Mine too. All right. So anything else? So surfing with Kirk. Anything else? And me.
Well, that's the main thing.
That's the main.
Yeah, a lot of good work. Good.
Okay. Good times.
Maybe you need to ask him.
All right. So let's go straight here. All right. So tell us about. Been out now for a year with us. Give us 5 things that you remember, good or bad, from this tour.
Michael Schumacher training facility, kart racing facility with James Hetfield, and you were there covering it, and we were in deep competition, and I forgot for a second that the person that if I take him out, we all go home. That was a revelation. We were rubbing tires. And I was like, looked over, and then I saw that grin that Hetfield grin. I was, no, you better just let him pass because it was competitive, and just for a split second there, I just forgot that we don't want to take the man out. So I didn't let him win on purpose, but we don't want to be cartwheeling these things and then shut down the tour. And that was Germany, so that was good. 4 other things.
Could be good or bad, just things you remember.
It's really kind of funny to watch is when we spin our drum risers too quick and all of the mic stands fall off and crash down and take out lights. Or a stick gets stuck in the middle, and then stops us. Those are always good times. Almost burning up our artists with
Another good time.
pyro cues. Good days off, hotel bars, getting to know the crew, having a good time with that. Magic tricks with the magician late at night. Magic tricks are good with just crew people sitting around. Anything takes you out of the bubble.
So how is it opening for Metallica compared to other opening tours you guys have done?
We haven't done opening tours. We're always a headliner, and then so
let's talk about that. What's the difference now, being the headliner and then coming out there opening?
Coming out to open and actually see 25,000 people. That's the difference, I think. When we open, it's not quite that many, but or should I say, when we headline, it's not that quite that many. And supporting, I'm still pretty excited to see how many people get into it within the first 20 minutes. It blows my mind as a support act that these people are chanting and waving their fists like it's 11 o'clock at night. And I kind of have to stop for a second and realize, geez, I've never, as a concert goer, as a young concert goer, that the opening band was always just jukebox until what I wanted to see came on. And that continuously every night gets me.
So you think the feedback that the Godsmack got was pretty good?
For the most part, yeah, by all means. It's a lot more than I'd expected. We started in Europe with Metallica, and oh geez, here goes. We're getting to get the bottles and the cans. They're coming on stage. Get up the chainmail. Get ready to first show, and all of a sudden, and boom, they just kept roaring and coming back, and it's like, wow, it was really eye opening for about a week or so, and then.
Got bored with it?
And then I got bored with it. And then from that, like sometimes in the middle of shows, I'm off, La La Land, and oh shit, change of pace. And then change of pace, sit back down.
So I think Shane's been thinking now for a couple of minutes. He's got something to say, or you don't have anything.
Your catering is far better.
Oh, yes.
That took him a couple of minutes to figure that one out. We get back to Shane right after this. All right, so let's say one Metallica song that you can live without.
That I can live without?
Yeah, every time you hear it, you just go nuts. Like, oh no, not that fucking one.
I was never really big Metallica fan. I never owned any albums, to be honest.
All right. So who do we got over here? Let's go check it out. So what would you say you do on this tour?
I fly under radar. I try not to be noticed.
You're doing a good job there, pal.
Well, stay tuned, everybody, because later on I'm going to interview Nicholas, and we're going to get a few comments from Nicholas. We're going to ask him awkward questions, so stay tuned.
All right, so it's time for the people to make it all safe and fun, so you guys can have a fun show and make sure you don't get into any trouble, at least not too much trouble. No showing tits or anything. Just kidding, it's the internet, it's all good. And here we are with Chubby. A lot of people are wondering, and it's actually not on the list there, but let's start with, why do they call you Chubby, buddy? And take it over.
Why did they call me Chubby? Well, there's an old English guy on this tour. His name is Big Mick. Most of you guys know who he is. And apparently there's a comedian who is English. His name is Chubby Brown. And I have some strikingly similar qualities to this gentleman. And it started there, and it progressed into the fact that I'm always in catering. So there you go. Thus the name Chubby. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions for you Metallica-ites that come straight from the MetOnTour fan website. What is the craziest breach of security type thing you've ever seen? Boy, that's a good one. I think it was when John McEnroe started throwing eggs at you guys. No, maybe. No, that wasn't it. Craziest breach of security. I don't know if it was a craziest breach of security, but it was interesting when we played the Amsterdam Stadium. There was an overzealous Metallica head who decided that he wanted to go in a restricted area, and was subsequently chased by the local security, and decided that it would be a good idea to jump from the third level of the stadium, try a James Bond move, try and slide down a curtain to make it to safety. Needless to say, he didn't make it. So, that answers that question. Next question. How many hours of sleep do you get on a typical concert day? I guess that all depends. Really, if we do back-to-back shows, that's a factor. The drive time between the two back-to-back shows is a factor. If we're just coming into a show like today, after a day off, I've gotten plenty of sleep. So it's hard to answer. I would say you average about 5 hours of sleep a night out here, which is about right. What one thing will you always remember from this tour? The day that somebody came in and said, I'm looking for Nicholas Swanlin, the tour manager. No, just kidding. You know, there's a lot of things that we'll always remember from these tours. These things are cool to partake in. It's, if you can picture yourself, whatever you do for your career, just picture yourself packing that thing up and moving it every day and starting it over in a new city. You have to have some pretty good relationships with the people you work with. So, relationship-wise is the thing I'll always remember here, the people that I met and worked with. Would you take a bullet for James, Kirk, Rob, Lars, and Nicholas? All right, let's go in order. James? Sure. Kirk? Yeah. Rob? I think he's bulletproof. I don't know. Lars? You'd have to be aiming pretty low. He's a short guy. But I think it would. Nicholas, in a heartbeat. There you go. That answers that. What was your job before being the don't fuck with the band guy for Metallica? Well, I was the don't fuck with the Mr. Police Officer. That's why you get the funny haircut. And last but not least, what was the weirdest thing you've seen in the crowd? Well, you fuckers are weird. That's all I have to say. It's a nightly event with you people, so rock on.
Plus, Nicholas tours on from show to show. I've got some questions that some fans and some of his busmates have put together with my help. We're going to ask Nicholas some questions now. So the first question, Nicholas, how long...
Sorry. All right.
How long have you been running your silly little website, and why does it not work well with Max?
Well, me and Mac, we go way back, actually, and we got into a little argument on the first tour. So I would say since then I called my friend PC, and since then it's been pretty PC. And my silly little website's been around since pretty much 1998.
Great. Okay. Why do you ask all of us road crews such stupid questions?
Well, actually, that's a great question there, and I think I think it could be because I'm Swedish, and I think
that's enough said.
all right, so back at you.
This is one from the fans. What do you do all day?
I think actually that's from my beloved crew friends. You know what? It would take more than this tape to talk about the whole day. So later, skater. In all honesty, it would take the whole day to talk about it.
So that's basically what you do all day is talk about it. Okay. And this one is from your bus compadres. You're very good friends, of course. How many Hot Pockets have you consumed on this tour and why?
Another great question there. And it's kind of like a lot of people talk about their lights, how many lights are hanging up. But for me, I guess I got famous for Hot Pockets and macaroni and cheese there. Easy Max. I would think on a day off, I would say about 2 Hot Pockets. On a show day, it might be 2 also.
Is that an hour or the whole day?
You know, it is, if you look at the whole tour, I would say 2 per day. It might be even 3 a couple of days, and then maybe one, another day I actually go out and eat. And the reason I am eating it is because I actually like it. I think it's good, and because I'm moving somewhere where I need every single cent and kroners that I can get hold of. So staying on the bus and eating Easy Max and Hot Pockets is a good thing.
Well, there you go. The insight into Nicholas's life on the road. Now you know it all. So I guess we'll be taking job applications soon. Bye-bye.
Determines my destiny, my lifestyle. Determines my destiny. Keep searching, keep on searching. This search goes on. This search goes on. This search goes on.